the night off to be with family during this Thanksgiving weekend. So I need your help. Now we're going to go a cappella. I could play my guitar, but I think it's hard for me to sing and play my guitar at the same time. I don't know why. I can play guitar. Well, okay. So I need you to help me, okay? Ya da da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da. Magadlu mahasechaya mehodamku machshavotecha la da 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 da. Magadlu mahasechaya mehodamku machshavotecha. Ya da 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 magadlu mahasechaya meodamku machshavotecha. And now, would you join me in the blessing over the Sabbath candles? You may have candles burning on your Shabbat table. And maybe you've already blessed your Sabbath lights at home already, but help me anyway to bring that Sabbath spirit, that ruach, that special, that neshama yetera, that extra portion of soul here into our sanctuary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddeshanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And now for our kiddush. Again, you may have already made a kiddush at home, but please join me in our temple kiddush. Now, if you happen to have a Mishkan Tefillah at home, you can follow along. I'm on page 122. ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך עולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך עולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. L'chaim. Let's do some Shabbat Zmirot. Hine ma tovu manayim shevet achim gam yachad Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet achim gam yachad. And we go to, let's see, we're going to turn to page, let's do Ma Yafeh Hayom. Now that can be found on page 128. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Bottom of page 129. Ele Chamda Libi. God is my heart's desire. Ele Chamda Libi. Chusana v'yalna titalem. 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 And now we continue with Lecha Dodi on page 138. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. Verse 1. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shamo echad, L'shem ultiferet lehitila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. Verse 5. Hitoreri ori kiva orech kumi uri shidaberi kavod Adonai alayech nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. And now, verse 9, we rise. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'tzalacha, Toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabla. And now, on page 142, Shalom Aleichem, we sing and to the angels that have joined us on Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. On page 144. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shamei rabba b'yamad v'rachirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedachol beit Yisrael ba'gola uv'izman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam u'me'almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitala shmei d'kudesh abrichu le'olam min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata Da mihiran be'alma v'yimaru. Amen. And we rise for the Baruch Hu. Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Yai lai 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 Barichu et Adonai HaMevorach Barichu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam aved Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam aved Yai lai 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 lai. And now, Scott, I'm so glad you're here. Sure. It gets lonely here, you know, without being by myself.
I'm glad I can make it.
Yeah, so am I. Would you lead us in the readings on page 148 and then on 100 and 150? Thank you.
Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars and their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
We rise for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Aved. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Aved. Before we continue with the V'ahavta, I just want to reflect on what these words mean. Shema Yisrael, the Lord our God is one. That's what we just sang. And the V'ahavta tells us to love God with all of our intellect, with all of our hearts, and with all of our physical powers. You know, sometimes we are so split up, we're so divided within our own identity. You know, we have an intellectual life, an emotional life. We have a life which involves our physicality, and sometimes they're not all together. You know, when we are involved in life, if we want to live life to the fullest, we need to bring our full attention to the moment, to the task at hand. When we're listening to another person in a conversation, we listen with our minds, we listen with our hearts, we feel, almost physically, even if we're not touching them, we feel a certain connection with that person. When we do our work, we need to bring a passion to it. We need to bring the full measure of our feelings and our intellect and our full existence into it. That's the way to live. Most of the time, you know, we're not exactly where we are. We're only partially there. And I see this prayer, this section of the prayer book saying, no, be where you are at the moment. Be there, and be in that moment. We continue with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lavavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meotecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech uvshoch becha uvkumecha ukshartam lo'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein enecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי V'yitem kedushim le'Elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lechem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 158, Mi Chamocha. No, I will play my tambourine.
Yeah, I'll join.
Good. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilo, osei pele, Norah tehilo, osei pele. Malchutacha ra'uvanecha, bokeya yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu v'yamru, ze'elianu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al, Yisrael. Now we continue with Vishamru, and you remember this is what our dear friend Bella Deutsch started. Bella was a Holocaust survivor, and he used to get up and dance to Vishamru, and he would act out what the words meant. You know, it says, the people of Israel shall keep the Shabbat, observing it as a covenant between God and the Jewish people. And he'd raise his hands up like this. Excuse me. And then he would say, in 6 days, and he would say, 6 days, God made the heavens. And then he'd point downward and the earth. But on the seventh day, what did God do? He rested. And it sort of became our minhag. It's our custom here. So let's do it. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam v'ridolam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam v'ridolam. Beini u'v'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam v'ridolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz, ve'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam v'ridolam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam v'ridolam. Oh, you know who's what? This is just Facebook. We have a lot of other people watching on the the streaming. But Brent is watching.
Hey, Brent.
And Victor is watching, and Julie is watching, and Phyllis, and Stuart, and Agnes, and Cappy, and Sheila, and Giselle, Marilyn, Judy, and Sheila, Trudy. Oh, Trudy, it's good that you've joined us. And Michael. So we got a lot of people who have joined us. Isn't that nice? We rise for the Tefillah, page 166. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Imaot Umevi Gula Livnei V'Nehem Lema'an Shamo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Meitim Atah Rav Lo-Hoshia Mashiva Ruach Umarid HaGashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei Meitim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishanei Afa Micha Mocha Bal Givurot Umido Melach Melech Memid Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua V'ne'emanata L'chachayot Meitim Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye HaMeitim Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh HaKadoshim B'chol Yom Yahalalu Chatzela Baruch Atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. And now we turn to page 177. This is the prayer of Hoda'ah. Maybe you know the word Todah. In Hebrew, it means to give thanks. Hoda'ah means thanksgiving. And, of course, this prayer has special significance this weekend of Thanksgiving. Let's read together. Top of page 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around is so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha ne'eh lehodot. 178. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael, Amcha tasim leolam, ki atahu melech Adon, lechol ha-shalom, v'tov ve'necha levarech, et Amcha Yisrael, bechol et uvechol shah bishlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Now, usually at this time in the service, we do our own private prayers and meditations, and then I follow that up with some thoughts for the week. But I'm going to give you my thoughts for the week right now, and we can meditate on these thoughts following my remarks. You all know who Aldous Huxley was, the great English writer. Wrote some dystopian books, didn't he? All right. Well, anyway, I found a quote. I came across a quote of his today that I thought was very important to think about on Thanksgiving. He said, most human beings have an almost infinite capacity for taking things for granted. Isn't that incredible? Most people have an infinite capacity to take things for granted. How true that is. I know I take so many of my blessings for granted. And you know, we are surrounded by blessings. We really are. It's part of being a Jew, part of being an observant Jew, a religious Jew. And listen, you can be Reformed and religious at the same time. Don't think just the Orthodox are religious. We're religious in our own way. We people who are serious Reformed Jews. You know, in Pirkei Avot, Ben Zoma, one of the great rabbis living about 2,000 years ago, Ben Zoma said, he starts off asking a question. Who is rich, he says. Who is rich? The one who rejoices in his lot. It's not how much you have, says Ben Zoma. It's how happy you are with what you have. Do you recognize your blessings? You got to recognize your blessings if you want to be a happy and wealthy person. You know, some people, and we all know people like this, there are some people who have a lot of stuff. They have a lot of money, and they're just not happy people. There's an emptiness in them. There is a constant hunger for more and more material things. And material things seldom bring us happiness. Now, don't get me wrong. We all have to have our basic needs met. You know, we all need a roof over our heads. We need clothes on our backs. We need food on our tables. We need a certain amount of security in life. You know, beyond that, everything else is icing on the cake. It's dessert. It's nice, but it's not going to make you happy. The thing that's going to make you happy is if you recognize the blessings in your life. I teach something called Musar. Musar is a spiritual discipline, a Jewish spiritual discipline that was made popular back in Lithuania about 150 years ago. And there are 18 what we call midot, human characteristics that are absolutely necessary for a good, full life according to the Musar sages. Oh, they're also, I'm going to list some of them in a moment, but the number one midah, the number one spiritual characteristic, personality trait that you should develop, because all of the rest of the great spiritual personality traits come from this one, and it's gratitude. Gratitude. Oh, the other ones are generosity, patience, kindness, and humility, and it goes on. But you begin with what we call hakarat hatov, with the recognition of the good, looking for the good in everything, you know, and not taking anything for granted, not falling into that mistake that Aldous Huxley said of taking things for granted. On the news tonight, It was reported that 26 million Americans are in danger of not knowing where their next meal is coming from. What, we have about 330 million people in this country. So we're talking, well, maybe 8%, something like that. And we know that hunger is a problem. It is a constant problem here in America, but it's been made more serious because of the pandemic that we're enduring these days. There are people tonight in the world, and you know, we're all related. All human beings are the children of Adam and Eve. There are people tonight who are been pushed out of their homes in different countries. There are millions and millions of refugees, people who don't even have a roof over their head tonight, and their children in this situation. And, you know, here we middle-class people in America, we will complain about this, complain about that. The first spiritual discipline is hakarat tov, recognition of your blessings. You know, and you just think of the small things. You know, we're supposed to celebrate the small things. You can't appreciate the big things unless you appreciate the small things. You know, water, clear, pure water. You know, there are millions of human beings who don't even have a cool, pure water supply. Just think about that. Not to mention food and housing and security, to live in a country, in a neighborhood where you're not worried all of the time for your own safety, for your safety and the safety of your children. I have asthma. Not serious asthma, but I get seasonal asthma. Sometimes you'll hear me at the end of a sentence get I will be struggling for breath a little bit. And when I've had asthmatic attacks, when it's been hard for me to catch my breath, I can't tell you how sweet and beautiful a breath of air is. You know, I don't take that for granted. As a person who has asthma, and again, my asthma is not as bad as some people's, but I tell you, after I've had an asthmatic attack, to be able to go, I'll never take a breath of air for granted again, because it's horrible when you can't breathe. Our tradition teaches us there's to find 100 things to give thanks for every day. Every day, find 100 things that you can say, thank you, God. Baruch atah Adonai. Thank you for a glass of orange juice. Baruch atah Adonai. Thank you. I have a friend who cares about me. Look at, he called me just to see how I was doing. I shouldn't take friendship for granted. Baruch atah Adonai. Thank you. I have a congregation. I have an extended family. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai. I can feel the sun on my face. I hear my favorite song on the radio. I hear words chirping. If you find 100 things to give thanks for every day in your own way, you're wealthy. You'll realize how wealthy you are, and you will always be happy. I'm going to end with this. I came across another quote today, this one by George Bernard Shaw, the great Irish playwright. This is beautiful. I jotted it down. You see, my handwriting's not that great, so I hope I can read it. This is the true joy in life. This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose, being recognized by yourself as a mighty one. The being a force of nature instead of the fevered little clot of ailments and grievances, complaining the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion my life belongs to the whole community. And as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a splendid torch which I got hold of for the moment. I want to make it burn as bright as possible before handing it on to future generations. You know, our sense of gratitude has to go somewhere. And it needs to be expressed not just in words, but in deeds of loving kindness, serving our fellow human beings, caring about each other, being compassionate. That's why we're here. To give thanks to God. Whew, I'm alive. Look at this. Look how many blessings I have. And then to pass on whatever blessings we have to each other. Amen. So close your eyes for a moment. Put your feet flat on the floor. Let your hands rest peacefully in your laps. Take a couple of deep Shabbos breaths. And feel that precious, beautiful Sabbath rest washing over you. This is a blessing. What a blessing it is to be a Jew. What a blessing it is to have Shabbat. What a blessing it is to have a temple family. For the next few moments, think of at least 10 things for which you are genuinely and deeply grateful to have in your life. 10 blessings. Take a deep breath. Oh, say shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imeru, imeru, amen. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Vayimaru, amen. Well, I don't have Richie here tonight. We gave Richie the evening off as well for him to be able to spend a little time with out-of-town guests. But we have birthdays nonetheless, and we have anniversaries. So celebrating birthdays this week are Michael McGowan, Darren Rubel, Milton Jacobs, a former president of our congregation, and Danae Owens. Excuse me. We have a couple of our younger people who are celebrating birthdays. We have Bianca Habosha, Shai's daughter. She's also getting over a broken arm, and she had the sniffles last week. And Jake Scheidelman. Jake is quite the guitar player these days. So we go, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. May the God who brought you into this world be blessed. May your parents who have loved you and taken care of you for all of these years, may they be blessed. And may the day of your birth be blessed as well. And we say, Amen. Celebrating anniversaries. And you know, we talk about beshert in Yiddish. When you find the one that you were supposed to be with. When you find that person and you stand under the chuppah with them and declare your love for that person, you are completed. Drina and Tavin Portman this week are celebrating their anniversary, and we say Mazel Tov. And guess who else? Ginger and Cantor Manny. He's giving a hug to his loved one right now. They're having a Shabbos dinner. I'm sure it's very romantic. He can sing a great song. He can sing. He can do something very nice. So we say Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov and Siman Tov, Siman Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Siman Tov. Yehei lanu, Yehei lanu, Yehei lanu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, Yehei lanu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Now, this Shabbat, we say a Misha Barach for the following people who are in need of a refuah, that is a healing. And so we keep in our thoughts and our prayers Lynn Lowith and Murray Diamond and Michael Friedman. Do you have anyone else? Well, we continue with the Misha Barach. Misha Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach imotenu, makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We rise for the Aleinu on page 586. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, letet gedula yotze bereshit, shalo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot adama, shalo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu Korim umishtachavim umodim lefnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Adonai echad, ushamo echad. This Shabbat, we observe the Yortzites of Max Augenlicht, Samuel Berner, Benjamin Balasny, Louis Brainin, Ida Crystal, Frida Dell, Norman Dichter, Rhoda Eaton, Betty Ettinger, Rudy Feinerman, Jenny Feinzig, Sally Foreman, Miriam Friedman, Blanche Germain, Sarah Gersh, Nathan Gertler, Lillian Gilmore, Morris Goodman, Stanley Greenberg, Benjamin Greenwald, Leon Gruber, Herbert Lieberman, Arthur Malenkoff, Sam Marks, David Roth, Joan Sander, Arnold Schneider, Augusta Selinger, Mark Simon, Nancy Solomon, Elsie Speckler, David Speckler, Harold Steinberg, Frank Strick, Jacob Tanner, my mother Esther Tufts, and Robert Woolman. As always, we remember the 6 million. And we are presently in the Shloshim period for Morton Kalin, Marcia Rapp, a former president of our congregation, and Connie Glazer, a dear congregant who just passed away. The mourner's Kaddish can be found on 598. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shamir Rabbah, Be'alma devarach Chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon, Uv'chayedech al Beit Yisrael, Bagala v'yizman kariv v'imru amen, Yehi Shmei Rabba mevarach leolam olamei lamaya, Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit romam v'yit nasei, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitala, Shmei de Kutsha Brichu, Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbachata v'nechamata, Da'miran be'alma v'imru amen, Yehi shlama rabba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen, Osei shalom b'imrumav, Hu ya'asei shalom, Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. I see Julie and Brent have tuned in and said, and I know they were saying Kaddish for their dear parents, both of whom are on this week's Kaddish list, Elsie and David. Elsie, I had the privilege of knowing, what a lovely lady. And David was a beloved veterinarian here in Hollywood many years ago. And the Speckler family is a multi-generational family in this community and in this temple family. And we love them very much. So, let me see. What else do we have to do? Okay. We have some announcements. Ooh, I got to reach way over here. Fundraisers. We have our annual Latka sale for the JLC and a pastrami sale for Brotherhood. You can make these purchases on the TBE website or just call the office. The deadline is Monday. Sisterhood Gift Shop has new Hanukkah items for kids and adults available online. Jeff Bezos is really worried that, we're going to cut into his business, his online business, But anyway, isn't that great? You can order from our gift shop online. Hanukkah, we're going to have a Hanukkah drive-in and family Shabbat in 2 weeks, Friday, December the 11th at 6 p.m. Oh, boy, this is a long time from now, but Saturday, January the 30th, we're going to have a virtual poker tournament for our preschool and JLC and youth programs. You can join us as a player, as a sponsor, or both. Why not both? Information is on our website. You know what? You can win a $500 Visa gift card, and there's a lot of other really terrific prizes. So now, bring your spare change to TBE to donate to the Speckler family mitzvah fund. And this is so important. Food donations. Please, we collect all year long. We collect food for the hungry. So, you have canned goods, you have non-perishable items, I'm sure, in your cupboards. Please just drop them off during the week, during business hours at the synagogue. We also need feminine hygiene products that we will be donating to the women's shelter. And Torah study tomorrow. You want to come and study Torah with me? 9:30. Now that's a Zoom kind of deal. We can have a back and forth on Zoom. 9:30. You got to go on Trending to get the number and the password for that that class. Transitional yoga online. 9 a.m. on Mondays, and I do a meditation from Tuesdays to Thursdays at 9:30. We have a nosh and schmooze on Tuesday at 12, and we have a terrific adult education program, 7 o'clock on Tuesday as well. We have my Talmud class, 11:30 on Wednesdays. We have Minyan and meditation on Thursday morning. The Minyan is at 9. Everything you ever wanted to know about Judaism and were afraid to ask, that's Cantor Manny, 6 o'clock on Thursday. Whew. We're not doing enough here. We got to get some more activities here. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we got enough. You know what? We also have, don't forget, Tuesday the 1st at 12 o'clock. It's on Facebook Live and a live stream in Roku. We could join David Moses. He's a respiratory therapist on the lives of hospital workers in the pandemic and what you can do to keep them and you safe. And I think you just mentioned at 7 o'clock we have part 2 of the Audacious Hospitality opening our tent wider. And one other thing, what's important, we will be starting our winter mini camp. Week 1 is December 21st through the 24th. Week 2 is December 28th through the 31st. So, of course, December 24th and the 31st, they close at 12:30. So those are for campers that are 3 months to 7 years of age. So don't forget to register now for that.
Thank you, Scott. Some other people have joined us. Nancy and Damon. If Damon has joined, well, Francine is by him. And Linda and Susan And Sarah and Shai is watching all the way up in Asheville. Asheville.
They're not letting him back.
Huh?
I don't think they're going to let him out of Asheville.
And now, the flowers were sponsored by Brent in memory of his parents, Elsie and David. And, oh boy, Dodie Weinstein and Bob Goldberg, I'm almost embarrassed to say this, they sponsored the music tonight. And they had to put up with me. Listen, we're going to mention you when Richie is here in a week or two. That's going to be the one that we're going to associate your name with. You shouldn't have to associate your good names with my. This
wasn't enough.
That was that was great though. That was great. I was once told that as a singer I'm a howling success. I was told that once. Okay, so let's go to page 626 for Ein Kalohenu. Ein Kalohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kimolkenu, Ein Kamoshienu, Mich Elohenu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Emalkenu, Mich Chamoshienu, no dead Elohenu, no dead Ladonenu, no dead Limalkenu, no dead Lamoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Well, thank you for letting us into your homes tonight, and thank you for joining Scott and myself here in our temple home. And may God bless you, and may you always have this deep sense of gratitude in your hearts, and may you just realize how wonderful it is to be alive, and may you realize that we're here to share our blessings with each other, especially those who are in need. So during this season, do whatever you can to help the needy in our community. Won't you join me with in a motzi? Good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Okay, Shabbat Shalom. Look at this. Contactless delivery of challah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. See you. Maybe I'll see some of you tomorrow.